welcome to this edition of Formation Matters. I'm here with Brother Andres. Brother Andres, could you present yourself a little bit? Tell us who you are, what you're doing, what's going on.
Yes, so I'm Brother Juan Andres Luna Escalante. I'm from Mexico. This is my second year here in Humanities in Treasure, and this is already my 10th year here in the Legion. I was in the Apostolic School. It was a seminar for teenagers, and I'm so grateful to be here with you.
Very good. And so, where has the Legion brought you over the years? You were an apostolic, or you had those first years of formation in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. What city was that?
So I was in León, Guanajuato.
Okay.
It's the center of Mexico.
Okay, very good. They're very. That's a very important theme for a lot of them. That it's the center of Mexico. Most of the time, if you're talking to somebody who's from León, the first thing they'll tell you is that he's from the center of Mexico. At least that's been my experience. And Brother Andres, where were you? Where were you for your novitiate? Those first 2 years of more formal religious formation before you came here to Cheshire.
So these first 2 years of formation, I was in Germany. I did my novitiate in Askern. It's a little town there in Germany, in Bavaria. And then I came here after 2 years.
Okay, very good. So we're alma mater of the same novitiate, kind of. They were in a different house when he went through the novitiate. But I was also in the novitiate of Germany, but about 20 years earlier. So a little bit of a difference, something to change, but same, at least the same alma mater. Okay, so Brother Andres and also all of you, today we're talking about freedom and how freedom can be helped by the convictions that we live. And I think, for a lot of us as Americans, freedom is a word that speaks to us very deeply. And in a lot of our movies, the hero is defending freedom, and it might be a lot of public discourse that we hear. And I know growing up, freedom always was something very important for me. And, but a lot of times we might have a mistaken idea of freedom. So I wanted to ask you today, Brother Andres, what do you think of when you think of the word freedom?
So when I think in the word freedom, I think in the capacity that we have to choose between something good and something bad, but also the capacity that we have to do what we want to do.
Right. And actually something that's really important about freedom is that without freedom, there wouldn't be any moral action, right? And there's actually some people that propose that there is no morality, right? And they would say that we don't even have the possibility of determining our own actions, that we're not free, and that everything that we do is by necessity. So, for example, if somebody says that all of our actions, all of our feelings are simply the result of a chemical balance in our brains, well, then that leads to a denial of freedom. And there's no morality, because if I'm not free to choose the good or the bad, as Brother Andres was saying, well, then I really don't have any morality in my action. I'm simply living on my own impulses. Just like when your dog goes and snatches that bacon that he sees on the floor, there's no willpower being involved there, because he's not free in the same way that we are as humans. And so, Brother Andres, today we're talking about freedom related to convictions. What is it that you think of when you think about convictions that help guide us?
So when I think about convictions, I think in these deep beliefs that we have, or these deep ideas that are within ourselves. These things that move us to do what we want to do, or what we just decide. As a human, we have always these ideas within ourselves.
Right. Very good. So I think that is very helpful. And, we can think, how can we form these convictions? And how can we form the convictions that are going to make us truly free? What would you think about that, Brother Andres? Like, what convictions do you think are important so that a young man, a young woman can feel truly free?
So first, I think it's good to try to do some first habits and virtues, to try to work in something maybe not spiritual, just starting with human things, that just trying to look for the other, trying to really be open to others, to help others, to do better my work. I don't know, to wake up with a good attitude is already something that is going to allow you to be free. Because when you have a conviction, when you have a deep idea, you are not, you don't care about the other's opinion. You care really about this deep idea, and this deep idea that if it's good, it's gonna lead you to make more good, to do more good, and also we have the danger to have bad convictions. So
Right, and I think that you touch on something very important there, that where do our convictions come from? They come from the ideas that we have. So I remember growing up, something that my dad emphasized a lot was the necessity to always tell the truth. And that was something that he would say, but it was also something that he would back up. I remember him being a very truthful man, and as well in his dealings with us as kids, it was always emphasized. And there could be, there might be a lot of understanding if we made a mistake, if we misbehaved in some moment, but where there was no tolerance was in lying or in trying to stretch the truth. So what I think is important there, and going back to what you were saying, we have to have the right ideas if we're going to form the proper convictions. Very good, Brother Andres. Is there anything else you feel like you'd like to share about this topic or anything else that you've been thinking about?
yes, something that I mean it's also special. I mean it's good that we take in consideration is what we see, what we read, what we are just getting into ourselves. Because if we are reading just critiques about I don't know about the church or about either truth or I don't know what, we are gonna get deeper into that. And although we don't want to get deeper into that false convictions, we're gonna get there because we are feeding ourselves with these false convictions, ideas. Sorry.
Yeah, that is a great point, Brother Andres. I think that's something that's so important because at the end of the day, to a certain extent, we're products of our own culture. And so if we're not able to give ourselves the right information, good information, we're going to end up seeing things the wrong way. And so the movies that we watch, what we read, even our conversations have a lot to do with who we are and the convictions that we're forming. And those convictions help us to be more free. Why? Because it's easier to choose what is good. And so our freedom is directed to what is good, and by having those convictions, it's a little bit easier to attain that goal. Well, thank you very much, Brother Andres, for joining us today, for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you, all of you, and I look forward to seeing you next week. God bless.